Welcome to another episode of the Culture Index. Today I'm here with Harriet from Husk Distillery. Thanks for joining us.
No worries, my pleasure.
Yeah, let's get into it. So tell us more about Husk.
Yeah, so Husk Distillery, we're a family-owned and run distillery and an operating farm as well. So we're both farmers and distillers.
Okay.
We have a sugarcane and cattle farm here in Tumbolgum,
Wow.
150-acre property, and we use that sugarcane to turn it into our beautiful Husk rum, which we're surrounded by at the moment.
There's a bit around here, right?
Yes.
We can probably see the stacks and stacks.
yeah. So you can smell it in the air. That's the angel's share that you're smelling.
Wicked.
Yeah.
So even when I walked in here as well, and I came through the staff entrance, just the size of all the infrastructure there. Like we're talking about the copper tank.
Copper still.
It's massive.
Yeah.
I've seen ones this big before, but not ones that are like the roof high.
Yeah, so we started off in one that big.
Yeah.
I can actually show you on your way out. It's a little 50 litre pot still.
Yeah.
And we were in a small converted farm shed in 2011 and 2012. That's where we started. And we only moved here in 2017. And then we bought that big boy, the big still then.
How many meters tall is that thing?
I don't know how many meters tall, but he's 6,000 litres fat.
Fat.
His name's Fat Bastard.
Fat Bastard.
After the Austin Powers
Love
character.
That.
Yes.
We must put out some good rum or gin, whatever you put
Rum
out.
and gin.
Rum and
Yeah,
both.
it's both. Yeah.
So what? So you guys offer here tastings. You've got the farm. Tell us more about what sort of you can offer down here. To someone coming in.
So the style of rum that we make requires a little bit of explanation because we're the only people in Australia who make rum from fresh sugarcane juice. Most rum is made from molasses. So sugarcane juice rum is a very rare style. It's got a very different flavour profile. It's got real provenance, real connection to the land. So it was always very important for us to be able to bring people here so they could connect with the land, taste the rum, see the story, see the full farm to bottle process in action. So when you come to the distillery here, you can do all of that. You can do distillery tours. We do a farm to bottle distillery tour where you learn about the whole process of making husk rum and also ink gin, because we do ink gin as well.
I was going to say the famous gin.
So because our rum is seasonal, we had to make something for the second half of the year where we weren't making anything else. So that's where ink gin came into play. And it was one of the first craft gins in Australia.
Yeah, I was going to say you're pretty well known for the colour of the gin.
The colour of the gin.
Yeah, tell us more.
Yes.
Saw that on Instagram. I was like, wow, that looks pretty colourful.
Yeah, it's beautiful colour.
Yeah.
So basically, we wanted to make a gin because the rum is seasonal.
Yeah.
And looking to the US and the UK, the craft gin boom had already happened there.
Yeah.
It hadn't happened in Australia yet, but when you looked at the UK and the US, this was back in 2012, there was hundreds and hundreds of different gins.
Yeah.
So Dad, our founder, he asked himself, how do I stand out amongst all these other hundreds of clear gins when they eventually do come to Australia? Yeah. And so he started looking for a botanical, because gin is all about botanicals, all about putting natural elements, leaves, roots, berries, fruit into the still and distilling it through. Yeah. So he started looking for a really unique botanical that would set his gin apart from every other gin. Yeah. And we hadn't made a lot of gin in this region, in the Asia Pacific. Yeah. So he found this butterfly pea flower, which is grown in Thailand and native to Thailand, equatorial Asia.
I drink it as a tea at night and it turns the colour. Yes. That's why. All right. The kids love it. They go, wow, what's this?
It's so much fun. It's beautiful. And it's the national drink of Thailand. They drink it in hot tea as well as in cold iced tea.
Yeah.
And it's a blue flower. You brew a blue tea and then you squeeze lemon or lime through it and it changes colour to that beautiful blush pink colour. Yeah. So that really captured his imagination and he thought, what an incredible botanical to try and capture the spirit of it in a spirit, in a gin. So that kind of was how we built that recipe.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And it's so cool that you guys have set up the rum to be farm to bottle, if you want to call it, you know what I mean? Because there's so much sugarcane around where we are right now.
Yeah, that's right. And it's amazing that we haven't ever made this style of rum in Australia before. Yeah. We've always made molasses rums, and we went to in the French Caribbean, that's where this style of rum is made. And only 3% of the world's rum is made with fresh juice.
3%?
Yeah, it's a lot harder to make.
It's a perception, right? You think, it is, but it's not.
No, it's a very unusual and rare style of rum. And Dad's background is in geology, so the idea of capturing the sort of provenance of the land in a spirit. One of the only ways you can do that is to use a raw agricultural product like sugarcane. So each year the harvest is different, the rainfall, the climate, whether or not we flooded that year.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's lots of factors, right?
All those things change the nature of the crop that year and the harvest that year, and then that is reflected in the end product.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so much to it, right?
Yes.
I was going to ask you as well. You guys do you do weddings here as well? Like
we don't do weddings yet.
Okay.
We've actually got we're seeking approval, so hopefully soon. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. Although I did get married here.
You did get married?
I was allowed to.
So you're the first.
I was the first.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got married 10 days after the big flood of last year. Yeah,
Wow.
which was pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And who are your clientele that come down here? Who are your customers? Tell us more about them.
One of the great things about this place is it looks very beautiful, but everybody is welcome here. So we get families with kids. It's a great place for the kids to run around.
Yeah, massive one up the front as well. Yeah,
it's kind of come one, come all.
Yeah.
So we get a big mix of people. A lot of people from Southeast Queensland coming down on day trips, and visitors from Sydney and Melbourne who are travelling through, as well as lots of locals.
Wicked.
So basically everyone. Come one, come all.
And from your point of view, tell us more about why you guys chose this location. I suppose, let alone the sugarcane maybe, but why did you choose this location as an area to build this place?
Yeah, there's a bit of a sort of family connection to it.
Yeah.
So Dad grew up on the Gold Coast in Southport back in the 60s and 70s, and one of his mates used to have a farm down near Tumbulgum. So he used to come down here as a kid, and he remembers the chain ferry was still running across the Tumbulgum, the Tweed River at Tumbulgum, and he remembers, playing with minnows and stuff that got washed up from the chain ferry. So when he had this idea to create a rum distillery, he started looking at the map, and he'd always been surrounded by sugarcane on the Gold Coast, Jacob's Well, those sorts of areas. He was looking at the map and saying, all right, sugarcane all here, and he saw Tumbulgum, and he said, oh, I love Tumbulgum, I love the Northern Rivers. And it's right in the heart of this he's a geologist. Tumbulgum is in the heart of the ancient Tweed caldera. So that is an eroded volcano that is 23 million years in the making. It's been eroding for 23 million years. And the lava flow from this Tweed shield volcano created all the surf breaks from Byron Bay all the way up to Burleigh Heads. And he's a surfer. So it was just right in the heart of this amazing geological space, really ancient land, and it just seemed like the perfect place to make a provenance-driven sugarcane juice rum.
Amazing. I was going to say, for me, learning new things every day. Hey, tell us more about who was involved in putting together the design of this. Who was the design team behind it? How did you come up with the concepts and everything else?
Yeah, so Mum really led that process. She's got a great eye for design, and she sort of did most of this work.
Wow.
She's renovated every house we've lived in.
I was going to say she's definitely a good eye for design.
And she sourced all the materials, picked all the finishes, designed up various different doors and things. So Mum really did pretty much all the design work, along with architects to do the drawings and things. But Mum's the creative design eye behind everything.
And it's not like it's a small place.
No, it's a big place.
It's pretty substantial.
The design of the whole building with the two peaks and then the flat bit in the middle. That was actually inspired by, we were in New Zealand and on a family road trip a few years ago. And suddenly Mum and Dad throw the brakes on and jump out of the car, and us kids in the back are
what's going on?
Right,
here
we go. We thought it'd be, Dad always used to pull over and look at rocks. Here we go again. Like New Zealand is a geologist's heaven.
His dream,
But they jumped the fence to this abandoned, like it was a farm. They jumped over the fence and walked over, and there was an abandoned phosphate factory that was all tumbling down and beautiful recycled bricks, and it was this shape. And they started pacing it out.
Cool.
So the building design was inspired by this big phosphate tumbling down brick factory in New Zealand.
Wicked, I love it. Love those moments there, right? With the parents go, okay, we're stopping, kids. Let's go have a look.
Climb out.
Climb out, we're stopped. Awesome. Well, tell us more then about sort of 3 of your favourite spots in and around this local area.
Well, one has to be Fingal Headland and Dreamtime Beach.
Love that.
I lived there for a little while, and it's just the most beautiful spot. It's dolphins everywhere. It's a huge big dog beach at Dreamtime, and it's so big that there's never very many people on it. So that's got to be a huge favourite. I really love Tumbulgum. It's just a gorgeous place here. We've got the river, and the village is so sweet. All the locals are just gorgeous, and it's the meeting place of two beautiful rivers, the Tweed and the Rouse. So Tumbulgum's just beautiful to have picnics along the river down there. Third favourite spot. I've got to say just driving around all the villages.
Yeah.
So going to, if you drive out to Yukai or out to Talgum, it's just so gorgeous to just spend the day stopping off at a little village, grabbing a coffee, going coffee out at Yukai, keeping on going, go out, all the way out to Talgum, and it's just, you could drive around here forever, and it's just stunning. It's just so beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much.
My pleasure.
If you guys want to come out and find Husk, where do we find you guys?
Yeah.
Where are you guys located?
So we're in Tumbulgum, so about 15 minutes from Casuarina, about 20 minutes from the Gold Coast Airport, and about 40 minutes from Byron Bay.
Awesome.
And yeah, we do lunch, long lunches, cocktails, tours, everything.
Awesome.
Whatever you want to do.
Nice. And where can we find you online?
So we're at huskdistillers.com
Yep.
or at Husk Distillery.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
My pleasure.